Welcome back to Property Management Madness.
I hope you're all ready.
I'm your host, Shawna,
I'm Jay.
and we're just going to be talking about property management today. It's crazy, so let's talk about it. Pull up a chair, pull up a drink. We'll wait while you get ready. Okay. All right, Jay, you got to pick last time.
Yes, it's your turn now.
Yeah, what you wanted to talk about. So I think that today's episode, off the top of my head, because that's how I roll, is going to be, I want to talk about maintenance today.
Oh, God.
Let's talk about maintenance.
Let's talk about it.
I love maintenance. You can go first.
You know what's great about maintenance?
Tell me.
Nothing. Nothing is great about maintenance.
That's not true at all.
No, nothing is great about maintenance.
It's expensive.
It is expensive. It's a pain, but it's important.
It is essential. I wouldn't say it's important. It is essential.
No, it's important and essential.
Absolutely.
You know what it is that if you think about preventative maintenance, that's what's important about it. That's what's essential. Doing your preventative maintenance.
Yeah.
If you're using a property management company, empowering them to make sure that your property is properly taken care of, and that preventative maintenance is done, and giving them the authority to do so. Or if you are managing it yourself, you are going out and performing those inspections to make sure that preventative maintenance is done.
Right.
So let's talk about how maintenance works.
Well, I think that what I think we should first talk about is that maintenance is not necessarily Brenda calls in and says, my son put her elbow through the window. You got to come out and replace this window.
Which happens, people.
All the time. And it's not just, Jessica calling and saying, I have a slow bathroom drain. So you go out and you handle it. So that's reactive.
Yeah.
That's reactive maintenance.
Yeah, and that's why I mentioned preventative maintenance.
There are two major types of maintenance. Well, I guess three, if you're going to talk about capital. So there's three major types of maintenance. So we have the preventative maintenance. We have the maintenance that you do to make sure that the property is going to last as long as it possibly can, and it's going to stay as valuable as possible. Then we have the reactive maintenance. So somebody came and broke something, so you are going to fix it. And then the last one is your capital improvements, which I think it is a good thing that it is completely separate from what we normally talk about when it comes into maintenance, because these are your large expenditures, ticket bills. Yeah, these are things that you do once in every 10 years, maybe once in every 15, 20 years. This is not,
on what it is.
Yeah, this is not something that, every single turnover that we're doing. So there are three big facets of a maintenance. So we'll talk about them all. So the first one we already kind of touched on, preventative maintenance. So why is it important? Why is it? Why? How does it work? Why is it important? Tell me.
So preventative maintenance, as a owner, a landlord, you want to make sure that you are going out and doing your regular inspections of your property. You want to make sure that anything that you see gets caught before it becomes a big problem. So going out and doing touch-ups to the exterior, fixing little holes in the concrete before they become large holes. We're in Michigan here.
Trip hazards.
Yes, we're in Michigan. So you think about winter and, what that does to the concrete.
Yep.
And, a small crack or a small little hole, a small chip in the sidewalk or the driveway, that's going to become larger over time.
Absolutely.
So making sure that's taken care of before it becomes a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, anybody from Michigan knows what our roads look like. So it's not hard to believe that the driveway is going to eventually look like that too if you don't maintain it properly.
So construction season is also going to include your driveway if you don't get it done.
Absolutely.
Also going in and checking the house for anything that needs to be done. If you see any plumbing leaks, if you see anything that may be a roof leak or Anything, and the exterior, your gutters, you're making sure the gutters get cleaned out, whether that is covered by you or covered by the tenant. These things are getting done before they become large problems, because can become large problems really quick.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure that at least every 6 months you're laying eyes on your property, or your property manager is laying eyes on that property and seeing what needs to be done. Fixing the small things before the big problems. That's preventative maintenance.
Well, and I think that you just made a really good point. This is something that you don't have to necessarily, it's not something you're constantly thinking about. This is something you can do twice during a 1-year lease.
Yes.
And it can be, and it doesn't have to be a formal inspection. It can definitely be a formal inspection. But if you already have somebody going to the property to take a look at it for a city inspection or for a furnace problem, and you say you trust your vendor that's going out there, who's your plumber, you can be like, hey, while you're out there, can you let me know if anything else is going on with the plumbing?
Exactly.
While you're out there, can you let me know if everything's working the way that it should be? While you're going out there to, change the faucet, want to take a look and see if there's anything else that needs to be done.
Take a look around.
Yep. So, and absolutely most maintenance companies will do that because these guys want your money.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to tell you what's going on. They want to be upfront and they want to be honest because they want your business, and if they can prove that they can be trusted, they'll get it.
Yep.
And
I know
there's nothing more for me personally. I think there's nothing that pays you back faster than a good maintenance guy.
Yeah. And, mentioning that, I know, it is really hard to find a good maintenance person. When you find them, keep them.
Yes.
Keep them around. Do what is right by them, because they are going to save you so much money in the long run.
Doing things
making
right.
sure that everything is corrected and giving you the honest feedback of what's going on at your property. So if you have a good maintenance person, keep them around. You're going to need them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really is. It's making people happy.
Yeah.
Doing what's right by them. Making sure that they know that your business or their call is the first call that you make. Once you find a good guy, keep him.
Yep.
Keep him, absolutely. So
let's talk about what happens when you don't care about preventative maintenance.
Besides the fact that the city will come condemn your house.
Yes, besides the fact that you're getting condemned and they're making your tenant move out.
Yes.
And you no longer have an income property. You have a property that's sitting there vacant, costing you money instead.
You have a property that's going to take all your income property. Yes. I would say, what was the question?
You forgot already?
Listen, I was talking about condemning properties. I was excited. What were we talking about?
She was so excited about that. Condemning properties. No. That is Shawna over here.
No, okay. So
she's not. She's a big advocate for preventative maintenance,
absolutely.
just like I am. Because we don't want to deal with it when it becomes a larger problem.
Because, so what happens when you don't do preventative maintenance? A couple things, and it usually will...
Just a few things.
A couple things happen, but what you'll see is the cost of your turnovers when your resident moves out goes up.
They are going to double, just so you all know. It's not going to be, in most cases, it's not going to be a small increase because you've let it go.
Yeah.
It's going to be a large increase.
Yeah, so you're going to start seeing, and this is another telling sign, is that your turnover costs are going to start going up because your property management company or yourself, if you're doing it yourself, you're going to go in and be like, wow, this wall looks like this window's been leaking. What's going on with this? And had you inspected and fixed it when the leak first started,
your due diligence to make sure
you wouldn't be replacing all that drywall, and now the window, you would have just been replacing the window. Or maybe you would have just been caulking the window, but now the window is so broken
that's
that
the
it
difference
leaks.
Between reactive
and preventative.
Like you have to get it done before it becomes that large project that's going to cost you way more than it would have to just throw a little caulk around the window.
Yep.
Throw some weather stripping around the door.
To throw the property back on the market. So this is now... maintenance that you have neglected because it was too expensive at the time or you didn't think it was important has now become a turnover item.
Yeah.
So it's not, okay, I'm going to get to that because whenever I feel like it, like normal preventative maintenance typically is, it's a non-emergency, non-bearing
You think
sort of,
I can wait.
Right,
This is going to be fine.
Sort of maintenance, right? And you can get around to it when you can, and 90% of the time, that's 100% true.
As long as you do get around to it.
Yes.
Don't.
But now this maintenance,
I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, but now this maintenance has turned into, okay, well, in a couple of years, I'm going to replace this window because I didn't caulk it last year. It's now I have to replace this drywall under the window, and I have to replace the window in order just to get this property back on the market.
And not just that, you've got to replace the drywall, you've got to replace the window, you've got to replace the flashing around it, you've got to replace the windowsill. Yeah. That's a lot of money now that you've cost because you could have bought a $4 thing of caulk and caulked around the window.
Yep.
So make sure it's getting done. It does.
Tell me about it,
this
Jay.
Is a point with me that I mean, it's a pet peeve of mine. Yeah. Like, get it done when we say it needs to be done, or when you notice it yourself,
right.
or the tenant says something to you. Yeah. I know it might seem small in the grand scheme of everything. It might seem something really small, and it most likely may be something that's really small.
Yeah.
But something that's small can become something that's large rather quickly.
Yeah.
So it's important just to take care of it. If you can easily get something done. Sorry, somebody's making some background noises here. That's one of our guests that will be joining in just a few. But making sure that you get those small things done when you can, it's going to save you money in the long run. Something that can cost you, with labor, maybe $50, $75. Can end up costing you thousands.
Well, and let's not even say that this is now the cost of repair. What about a dripping sink?
Oh, God.
Yes.
You may
a toilet
think
that runs.
Yes, you may think that that's nothing. It's just the toilet turns on and it runs every once in a while. The sink just has a small leak.
You got to jiggle the handle every single time. Yep.
And, over time, you don't think anything about it.
Yeah.
Wait till you get that water bill.
Yep.
I have seen water bills go from a normal, $75 a month, maybe $35 a month. You know, it depends on where you are, really. But if a sink is just a small drip or a toilet is just, constantly turning on, that can turn into $1,000 water bill really fast.
Yes.
I'm letting you know by experience that happens.
Well, especially if not every, most places here in the Metro Detroit area, a lot of cities here, they will do their water bills every month. Some places don't. Some places will not do their water bill except for every quarterly. 4 months. Yeah. Yes, 3 months, 4 months. And then you end up with this huge water bill. But when you went to that house for the turnover, you saw the faucet leaking.
Yeah.
You're like, it's just a couple drips. And that couple drips adds up.
Yeah, it might be an expense. Like if you have to replace your diverter in your shower, it might be an expense at first to have a plumber come out and replace that diverter. But when you think about it in the long run, how much you are going to now pay on that water bill just because that faucet had a slow drip.
Yeah.
In the long run, it is going to cost you more than just going ahead and paying to change out that diverter and getting it done now.
But Jay, I don't care because the tenant pays for the water.
Oh, not in the state of Michigan. Your lease may say that your tenant is responsible for water, and that is true. Tenant may on the lease say they're responsible to pay the water bill. But as the owner of the property, you are ultimately responsible for that water bill. And if it is not paid, guess where it's going? Right on your taxes.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to have a large bill added to your taxes and a tenant fighting you because you didn't fix a leak when it was reported, fix it now, get it done. Bite the bullet, take the expense of replacing what needs to be done, whether it be a faucet, a diverter, tightening up some valves, whatever it might be, get it done now. Because when you wait, you're only hurting yourself in the long run.
But Jay, the tenant pays the water. But there's not always going to be a tenant. So,
what are you going to do when that property is vacant?
Yep, exactly.
And what are you going to do when a tenant fights you and is not wrong because they reported and said that it was leaking and wanted you to fix it and you didn't do it because it's just a small leak. It's nothing. No, nothing turns into something really
very
quick,
fast,
guys.
Very fast.
Turns in really quick.
Yeah.
So do it now. Don't wait. Get it done.
Do it now. I like that. So we have a guest speaker today. I'm going to introduce Joe, who's going to be talking about maintenance today. So Joe works for a property management company in the Metro Detroit, Michigan area. He does maintenance.
And he's terrible at it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm joking. He's good. He's my brother. I'm allowed to talk to him like that.
So Joe does maintenance. So let's talk about reactive maintenance, things that somebody has broken and now we have to fix it. So that's your specialty, right?
Yeah, I do that every single day.
Okay.
So reporting your maintenance issues is probably the easiest thing to do and the most important thing you can do.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you really want a pissed off maintenance man, don't tell him about your little leak and let him come in and find your cabinets have now caved in.
Yeah.
Because that will happen. Let me tell you, a little tiny drip will ruin your cabinets in a week.
Yeah.
So, and they're not your cabinets. They're not the renter's cabinets, so they're not going to care. They're your cabinets. So fix the leak. Replace the faucet. It's like $50. It's not that big of a deal.
Right. So what kind of properties do you do maintenance on? So I know that you do maintenance a couple different ways. So what's your primary? Tell the audience so they know I know who you are, but tell them who you are.
Well, again, my name is Joe, and I work at a corporate property of 211 units. Shawna is actually my boss. I mean, kinda. If I listen, no, I'm just kidding. She's a pretty good boss. But that also includes 30 townhomes for a total of 241 units that I oversee maintenance of. And as they said earlier, maintenance isn't just going and fixing a faucet when it's leaking, especially when you work in a property like ours. It's maintaining that entire property, which includes getting up on the roof and cleaning off those rooftop units. You know, we live in Michigan. We have seasons here, and the cottonwood is real. Let me tell you, it's terrible.
Tell me about the cottonwood and the AC units. That's been like the bane for you for a little bit.
The bane of my existence. Vacuuming off AC units every single day, and I don't even know why I was doing it. Because 2 minutes later they were covered again. But they need to breathe, people.
But
and if you don't do it, if you don't do it,
and that AC stops working.
And you're going to have some pissed off tenants when it's 90 degrees out and the humidity is 100%. They be sweating and they will be sweating you. Let me tell you.
They will be very angry.
Yes, they will. So make sure you are maintaining your units, especially when it's hot out. Spray them down with water if you need to, because they're hot just like you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say is the number one maintenance thing that you deal with? So if you have to give me like a top 5, top 10, where is your constant maintenance going? And what do you think can help prevent that from being needed?
Well, in our property, I respond a lot to leaks, but a lot of the times it's not really a leak. So make sure you go and do an inspection. Don't just ignore those little leaks, because a lot of the times it's just tightening a bolt.
Yeah.
It's something, especially in big buildings like ours, things loosen over time. You got to make sure you prevent those leaks by going around and checking everything and doing monthly inspections as we do or yearly inspections as we do.
Yeah.
And the city does, and HUD does, and everybody in my life does.
Our syndicate and tax credit. And
if you can't tell, I deal with a lot of inspections. So we keep up on our maintenance because it's going to make our lives easy in the long run. Yeah.
So like Jay mentioned, he works for me. And we are at a... Huh? That's Joe. Did I say Jay?
You said Jay.
I meant Joe.
You might have said Jay.
I meant
but
Joe.
I mean, Jay, yeah, he works for her too.
He did work for me.
I worked with her.
So, like Joe had mentioned, he works for me, and we are a HUD property. And a lot of our inspections that happen because of the type of funding that we have, because of the government subsidy that we receive, there's a lot of inspections. There's a lot of things that are usually expected, I would say expected, when somebody comes to the property. So unlike a city inspection, I would say, when somebody comes to our property, they expect perfection, and then everything that's wrong is like a ding down.
Yes, you start at 100% and you go down from there.
Yes, exactly. So this is not like a city inspection where they come in and they expect you, to have things that are wrong, and then you're going to fix them and whatever. But this is, they expect perfection. They expect you to be maintaining the property, doing every single thing that you possibly can do at all times. What else would you say besides like leaks and bolts and stuff like that? What are your, give me a top 5.
Well, maintaining the property in general, like every day inspecting your property for trip hazards, broken concrete, tree limbs that are hanging low that somebody could run into. These are all things that, especially with HUD, you have to have an eye out for on a daily basis. Daily, I really deal with basic maintenance.
Yeah.
So
what's your basic?
I can't say.
What do people break every day?
They break letter holders. I can tell you that. Mailboxes are a big one, especially because they're made of plastic and everyone likes to run into them. Patching holes in walls, little things, nothing big. Replacing the random faucet here or there, clearing a clog. Clogs are a big one. Clearing drains. People have, especially people with children, like to put things in toilets and they get stuck.
Children love flushing things down the toilet.
They really do. They think it's amazing when it disappears. And it doesn't disappear. It's still there. Let me tell you, it is still there.
Yeah.
So please watch your children.
Yeah.
But clearing clogs, and most of the time it's nothing like that. Most of the time it's not somebody put something in the drain for the most part. Yeah, most of the time it's just things that happen over time. Hair builds up.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody wants to hear it, but sludge builds up in drains.
Yep.
If you
can do everything right, and sometimes it's
just what happens inside those pipes. It's not a pretty story in there, people. So let's not pretend like it is. It's nasty in there.
Yeah.
So things happen, things build up, and you can't always blame somebody for that. So just going around and clearing small little clogs, clearing hair out of drains is a big one because people shed. You may not know you're shedding, but I don't know why that deserved an applause because that was nasty.
I liked it.
But so it's most of the time it's not malicious at all. Yeah. Little plumbing things for the most part.
Yeah. So what I know that personally, and I mean I don't do the maintenance at the property unless I have to.
Well, you help when we need it. You jump in there. You're not scared.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Like I said, I don't do it unless I need to. So, but I will absolutely. I'm, the number one person's like, you need me to help shovel. It's cold outside, but I'll do it.
I'm not going to say no. Come on.
But I think that what I see, we're talking about garbage disposals.
Oh, yes. I can't believe I did not think garbage disposals. Every
single day.
Every day.
All day.
You can count on getting a garbage with 211 units and 30 townhomes. Every single one of them have a garbage disposal. And I mean, some people don't use them. So they never turn it on, and then when it does go bad or it starts leaking, it's probably been there for 10 years, and it's time for a replacement.
Yeah.
So, but garbage is a big thing. Just check your garbage disposal, please, before you turn it on. Shot glasses are a big thing that get lost in those things for some reason. So,
that just happened.
Yeah, I can count on a shot glass getting ground up at least 5 or 6 times a year, without fail. So check for shot glasses, or put them on the other side of the sink, away from that garbage disposal hole.
Yeah. So do you think that a lot of routine maintenance, reactive maintenance, can we do anything as property managers? What can we do to help fix those issues?
To help maintain them, or?
Yeah, I think that I'm kind of fishing, I guess, waiting for you to say what I want you to say. But for me, I feel like you can educate. You can educate your resident and say, and we do. At my property, we absolutely do, because I have too much experience to have to deal with these people. So, we send out flyers that say, don't flush this down the toilet. Don't flush this down the toilet. Don't put this down your garbage disposal. Never wash something like this in your sink.
Yeah. I would say educating your residents is a huge part of maintenance in general.
And I think sometimes it's not because people are being malicious. Sometimes people just don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes they haven't used these items, or they've never had a garbage disposal, or they, especially working in HUD and lower income, sometimes you have residents that haven't had a home in a long time.
Yeah.
So they are not, this is all new stuff, and they don't know. They don't know what they don't know. So it's our job as management and maintenance people to educate your residents, because the more they know, the more it's going to help you, and it's going to save you money in the long run. Let me tell you, you tell them how to use your garbage disposal and what not to put down it. Grease. Please don't dump grease down your garbage disposal. Please.
Don't dump it down your drain in general.
Yes. Well, yes. Please don't dump it down your drain in general. But garbage disposal isn't going to grind it up. It's already a liquid until you dump it down your drain and run some water, and then it turns into a nice solid and clogs everything up. So please put it in a jar, throw it in the garbage. But educating your residents about your garbage disposal care, if they have dishwashers, dishwasher care, just how to take care of their appliances to help the life of that appliances extend into the future, however long it's going to last, because you don't want to be replacing these items every other year.
Awesome. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Well, we're going to get you here on part 2, so we're running out of time. They're giving me the 5-finger countdown right now. So, okay, so we're gonna get you on part 2, kind of touch base a little bit more on education, and then talk about some capital. So that's what we're gonna be touching base on in the next episode. We hope that you follow along with us.
We'll see you there.